Everybody ready? Good evening. If you're familiar with Marcy's Law, it precludes a lot of information that would identify the victim. So I just want to make sure, as you ask questions or you have information, I have to make sure I protect the victims here and identify anything to make sure that those victims are not identified and ensure that Marcy's Law is upheld. The other one, too, is I want to make sure everybody realizes and recognizes that domestic violence is a horrible crime. Unfortunately, it's only spoken about when it occurs. But we see a large amount of deaths in our county and regionally due to domestic violence. So I hope in times when we're not here talking about it, people are trying to do something to stop it. Because unfortunately we see that is the nexus to a lot of crime and a lot of deaths in every community. One thing to make sure our community knows is that no one's at risk at this time. The scene is secure. Everybody who is involved is accounted for. And this is not a random act. Those people that were involved knew each other. Everything's preliminary. The preliminary information right now, which I know of, is that the suspect is deceased and both victims are okay. Around 6:50 p.m., a call came to the Pasco Sheriff's Office involving neighbors that were involved in a shootout. All indications are that victim 1 was inside a house with the suspect. The victim was screaming for help as they were being attacked. Our detectives went in later on. There is evidence to say that there was an attack that was going on. There was blood inside the house, and the house was in disarray as if an altercation was going on, a physical altercation. As the victim 1 was screaming for help, victim 1 was placing elementary school children outside the second floor window. Victim 2, who was mowing his grass, came over and was assisting to lower those elementary school children. I can just tell you personally, that has to be a horrific scene for somebody, a victim, to be placing young children out of a second-story window because they were in such fear of their lives inside the house. Victim 2, who I said was mowing his grass, grabs the children, gets them to safety. At that time, suspect 1 comes out. Victim 2 is trying to calm down suspect 1. However, suspect 1 was not having anything to do with it. Victim 2 then goes back to his own property. At one point, at this time, suspect 1 takes out a gun, points it at victim number 2, and fires rounds at victim 2. Victim 2 fires back at the suspect, striking him, and he dies at the scene. I just want to, all indications here, victim 2 is a hero. Victim number 2, 1 was helping, another victim who is a victim of domestic violence, make sure those elementary school children are safe. Second is he went back on his own property, tried to defuse the situation, goes back on his own property, and the suspect starts firing rounds at him, and he was defending himself. But I go back to it, there are a lot of victims here. It's not just 1 and 2, it's those small children. Those small children were in a horrible situation tonight, something that they're going to live with for the rest of their lives. So I ask for everybody out there to please pray for them, because I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Domestic violence, as I go back to, is a horrible situation. I hope people go out there and talk about it, because we have to stop the cycle. But again, this is all preliminary information, but I want to make sure we get it out there, because I know there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of noise within the community, want to know what happened. So it's important that your sheriff's office get in front of this and make sure that we tell everybody's safe. Somebody stood up for the rights of victims, and we're very proud and that people in our community understand and realize that protecting somebody's life is a priority. And so I'm very proud to be a member of this community, because these are very tough situations, but we're not going to stand up we're not going to stand against those people that have domestic violence. We're going to make sure that those victims are safe. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions you have.
You see, you kept saying suspect 1. Was there more than one suspect? Or
No, just the one.
Okay.
How many children and how old were they?
I can tell you it's elementary school, multiple elementary school.
Will you be releasing the suspect's name?
The deceased, yes.
Was that suspect a former deputy or worked as a security guard at a school?
The suspect, no.
Was any parties involved?
I can't identify, can't state that.
Does anyone work at a school or as a security guard? No?
Can't, no.
Was there a second shooting close by in that neighborhood?
All indications of that was the only incident that occurred.
Okay. Only two victims,
Two.
essentially, besides from the kids, the victim 1 and victim 2.
Yeah.
Was victim 2 hit at all?
No. From my understanding, no.
Any injuries to either of the victims, not the person who shot the other two?
I don't know, I'm not sure about victim one.
Did this happen in the Trinity Preserve community?
It happened in our community.
How close were other neighbors? If you're talking about two people firing at each other, just how fortunate is it that there weren't more people hurt?
Yeah, as everybody knows, in these neighborhoods within Pasco, a lot of houses are very close to each other, so, no, it's a blessing that no bullets straight off and, struck somebody else.
So was the one victim was just kind of out a window, just kind of placing the kids down, and then the other victim was grabbing them?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost, from my understanding, it was almost like a scene where there's a fire in a house, and you're trying to just, the person's screaming for help, trying to get these elementary school children out the window, and as they're doing that, a good Samaritan comes over and starts, pulling them down. But, as most people think, a lot of our houses are single story. But it has to be a very horrible situation for somebody to be lowering elementary school kids out of a second story.
Did the victim and the suspect live together?
I can't, this is the hard thing that I'm trying to make sure we protect the law, protect the law, protect the victim. I can't really identify too much, and so, yeah, the victim were known to each other.
And you can say male, female?
I don't even know. As I say, I'm like a lot of people, and like you also, we're trying to get used to this law and understand it, so I'm trying to give you as much as I can without violating the victim's rights.
In the home where this started, was that address known to the sheriff's office for domestic violence calls?
I don't know what previous calls were there before.
Can you say whether the children were related to one another?
I'm not. I honestly, I don't know that answer either. Yeah.
Do you know if the suspect, was he intoxicated or under any other kind of influence?
They probably do toxicology to find out. I'm not sure if he was or not.
What kind of weapons were used with the
Handguns, from my understanding.
Did victim 2 have his weapon on him, or did he have to go back into his home to retrieve that?
It's my understanding he had it on him. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you all very much.